Hey everybody, welcome to What to Watch with Your Popcorn. I am Rob.
And I'm Dave.
And today we're going to be reviewing Fright Night. Now, what would you do if you thought that your neighbor was a vampire? Well, that is what Charlie, a high school student, is thinking about. And when his mom, his on and off girlfriend, and even a famous horror actor turned TV host named Peter Vincent doesn't believe him, he has to try and take the situation into his own hands. Okay, so Dave, alright, well, obviously we're getting into the horror movies because it's October and Halloween's coming up.
Yeah,
so let's start with you. What did you think about Fright Night?
It wasn't the best horror film I've seen. It was really kind of corny. I mean, I love the special effects, the way when the monsters melt and everything when they're exposed to sunlight or any other time that they get like chemicals or anything thrown on them. And any other like special effects when they're like changing into like zombies or vampires. That was great.
Yeah, I mean, I like this movie. I mean, to me, it started out to me like a standard horror film from that time because, okay, well, first of all, it reminded me a lot about Nightmare on Elm Street because you know how the characters are trying to tell their parents that Freddy Krueger is after them and nobody believes them. That's kind of like how I felt here. Charlie is trying to tell different people that he thinks that the neighbor is a vampire and nobody's believing him. To me, it started out like a standard horror film from this time, and then I found that the plot sometimes could be a little bit convenient. Like, for example, there's a scene where Charlie runs to his friend's house and his friend just happens to know how to protect yourself from a vampire. Isn't that just freaking convenient? You know?
Yeah, it was real corny, and I'd say it was almost like at times it could have been like a parody to Nightmare on Elm Street, just with a vampire instead of Freddy Krueger. And it wasn't my favorite.
Yeah, but I think it got better as it went along because one thing I noticed with a lot of these, now I'm not a horror fan, Brennan was the horror fan, but one thing I've been noticing with a lot of these movies that have been made in the 80s is that they kind of celebrate the old horror films. Like, for example, there's references in this film to those old Hammer horror films from the 50s and 60s, especially those little clips where that are on the TV during the movie with Peter Vincent, and then there's the old leaves brushing against the window, and
the shutters knocking a little bit.
Yeah, and something I also noticed is a lot of the vampire's teeth in this film kind of reminded me of Lon Chaney's vampire makeup from London After Midnight, like when you've seen pictures from that. But I enjoyed the acting a lot. I mean, take for example William Ragsdale as Charlie. He's convincing at being very scared stiff when he's being attacked by the accused vampire, and even when he looks like he's going insane, it's like if we don't really know whether or not he is crazy or not. I mean, he's very convincing here, and Roddy McDowell as Peter Vincent is very, very good, and because he's asked to be the Charlie's vampire hunter because he played a lot of them in a lot of those old pictures that his character used to do, and he's excellent in the role, and I thought he was very, very funny. And he's got a lot of funny lines. Like, I got a bunch of them here, like, what could be more important than my autograph? Or, so far it's been happening just like it has been in the movies.
Yeah, what can be more important than my autograph? That was kind of like something like you'd hear like in a Mel Brooks film or like in the Three Stooges or whatever kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fun movie. My problem with the movie, other than it starting out just like a standard scary movie from this time period and there's nothing interesting going on, it's the score, especially the scene where Charlie's rather annoying friend is walking into the alley all by himself. There's this horrible score there, and I had a problem with the nightclub scene. I mean, the problem I always have with a lot of movies where movies use the then current music is it's going to make it out of date, Yeah. That was the problem I had with Percy Jackson. I think a lot of the music they put in there is going to be out of date, and here you hear a bunch of 80s music, and
it was your typical nightclub scene that you see in all horror movies. Everybody's dancing, and then all of a sudden the monster comes in, and then everybody's like running scared and like, what the hell? What is he in here for? But the movie, to me, it felt too I mean, obviously it was made in the 80s, but it was just too out of date for me. I mean, you just mentioned the special effects were good earlier. That's another plus to this movie. I liked it. I think it took a little bit to get unique because I think after Charlie begins to have some suspicions about whether or not his neighbor is a vampire. That's when
I think it started getting better, because up to that point it just felt like an ordinary teen scary movie from this period. But I do recommend it. I really like the movie. It is a little bit corny, like you said. It can be cheesy, but I really, really loved it, and I do recommend it with your popcorn.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, and I also would recommend it.
Even though you thought it was a little too cheesy?
Yeah, but it's a fun 80s film, and it's got so many like good references in it to older movies.
Yeah. I was on the internet not too long ago looking for stuff about this movie, and they're remaking this movie with Colin Farrell as the accused vampire.
That should be fun.
Yeah, it's supposed to come out next year, but obviously people that love this older version from the 80s are not happy about it.
Yeah.
And a couple people that are in the cast said that the old film is too cheesy and wouldn't happen today, so... Yeah, so I mean, I don't know how it's going to turn out.
In the new movie, the club scene will be like up-to-date music. It'll be like rap or hip-hop.
Well, I don't know if they're going to include the club scene. For all we know, they could change stuff. I mean, some remakes are not exactly scene-by-scene remakes like Psycho was. Like the 1998 Psycho was a scene-by-scene remake. Sometimes remakes, they change scenes around, they put in new stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're going to include a club scene. And if they do, it would still... In about 20 years, that scene would be out of date, and it would be a little bit hard to watch, you know.
And I just wonder how they can top this, if they're going to be able to top the special effects that were in the old version, because those were pretty good.
I think they will. Honestly, I think they will, but I mean, I don't know if it's going to be as good as the original. But
maybe gorier and like real fantastic.
Yeah, probably more gory. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I guess we're both recommending Popcorn, but it sounded like I really enjoyed the movie a little bit more than Dave did. But, yeah, that's our review of Fright Night. So, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you guys next time on What to Watch with Your Popcorn.